and Peter.
Join me, Matt Connarton, weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m. live for a discussion about politics where we put aside labels like liberal and conservative and have a discussion about truth and what's really happening in the world.
Hey everybody, this is Rob Azevedo from Granite State of Mind, reminding you to tune in every Friday night at 6 o'clock for live in-studio performances by some of the very best artists from around the state. And don't forget, rebroadcasts are Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. and Monday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Granite State of Mind on WMNH 95.3 FM.
Hi, I'm former Mayor Bob Baines, and I'm here to tell you about Manchester Proud, a community movement to make our schools the best for our kids and our future. Manchester's economic vitality depends on the success of our public schools.
Hi, I'm former Mayor Cyril Dupuis. Education is the foundation of our community and one of our most important responsibilities. Many great and exciting things are happening in our schools, but we need to do better.
I am former Mayor Ray Wazorek. The future of our city depends on every child getting support and finding a pathway to a successful future. With exceptional schools, our community will excel.
I'm former Mayor Ted Gatsis. Our schools are directly linked to the safety of our neighborhoods and the vitality of our great city.
We are Manchester Proud.
Please join us in supporting Manchester Proud for our students, for everyone who proudly calls Manchester home. Sign up to become a Manchester Proud champion by visiting manchesterproud.org.
This hour on WMNH is proudly sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 171 Londonderry Turnpike in Hooksett. Serving all your employee benefits planning, design and administration, investment and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. They are available at 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Contact us by email at WMNH953@gmail.com or through our website at WMNHradio.org.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sticker salespeople, guys who punched a claw machine, people who frequently graffiti their ex's garage door, teens who will have their Ivy League admission rescinded, and other shrieking jackals. I'm here to announce that in 2020, win or lose, I will win the election. I'm walking over here now, showing you that I'm keeping it loose, proving to everyone that I can be a tough walking man, and now I'm moseying on back. Now, as I explained to ABC's George Snuffleupagus, I am now accepting foreign intelligence on my Democratic opponents. Simply call the number below. Operators are standing by. No more stuff on Biden. That treasure chest is full. So many people have made tonight possible, but none more so than Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. You two have done absolutely nothing to stop me, and for that, please accept this statue of a family dog watching the house get robbed.
You said we'd discuss the infrastructure bill.
You're being too pushy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
You're
everyone.
making us blush.
For more on my second-term agenda, please direct your easily seized attention to the Jumbotron.
If you thought President Trump's first term got your pulse pounding, his second term will make your heart explode. National Guard, on speed dial. Nuclear secrets, for sale. Basic human decency, bye-bye. And think Trump can't spell any worse? Think of Glenn. Donald Trump 2020. You're gonna get a rash, Buster.
All right, who wants pig hearts? Not enough to go around, so start clawing.
Oh my God, I'm president. I'm so rich and I'm an ass. And there's a wig on my head. I just FaceTime Putin. I told him I'm his biggest fan. Got so much scandal on the front page. Holy shit, let's build a wall. Ooh, I can tweet so well. Wonder if I can say the N-word. Wait, can I really say the N-word? North Korea, North Korea, in North Korea. North Korea, North Korea, North Korea, North Korea, North Korea. I woke up in Donald Trump's body, so orange, overweight and slightly balding. Now I got no choice but to ruin this country. I can't believe that it's Freaky Friday. It's Freaky Friday in Donald Trump's body. I eat pizza the wrong way and I drink water like a widow.
Montenegro is a tiny country with very strong people. By the way, they have very strong people. They have very aggressive people. They may get aggressive, and congratulations, you're in World War III.
Clearly, the Iranians are the least of our worries. The Montenegrins are coming. Hey, everybody, welcome. Happy Friday. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. It's kind of nice outside. It's windy, but it's still hot and sticky in here, I'll tell you. This room just, it's like, it's a room of humidity. Anyway, so we are on WMNH 95.3 and on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming worldwide at WMNHradio.org and on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. I see quite a few folks in there already, so I will say hello to you in a moment. But of course, if you'd like to give us a call on this Friday, June 21st, 2019, 603-250-6007 is the number. 603-250-6007. I think Kyle Heavey is going to be popping in from Off the Mark Sports. Always have a fun time with Kyle. I haven't had him on the show in quite some time. He's always welcome, but he's extraordinarily busy. But he is in the building right now as we speak, I believe. So hopefully he'll be popping in. Also, next week on the show, so on Monday, I'll be joined here in studio by Mark and Justin from the podcast Abstract Transmissions. I had the pleasure of being a guest on their show recently. Really had a great time. I thought it was a very substantive and fascinating discussion about politics, and we got into some other things as well. So they will be here in the studio on this program on Monday, so really looking forward to that. On Tuesday, we're going to do some music. The guys from the band Dead Harrison are going to be stopping in. I've known those guys for, well, geez, it's been well over a decade now. So they're going to be here. I believe this year they're celebrating, actually, their 10th anniversary as a band, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see them on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Shane from Choking Games will be in studio with us as well. So we're going to, mix in some music next week. We like to do that now and then. Let's see. So, hello to everybody in the Facebook Live chat. Looks like it's filling up in there. Hello, Jenny, of course. Jane Gallup says hello from Connecticut. Tony Petrello is in there. Also, Frank Botetto, speaking of music, of course. Frank and I used to be in the Jinxed together for off and on for a while. Dr. Jeff Cassell is in there, as well as Michelle Baldwin and Chris Rose. So Jane mentions, Jane Gallup in the Facebook Live chat, that there was a large rally that took place at the CDC headquarters in Atlanta today, formed by the many chronic pain patients and veterans that can no longer receive care for their 24/7 in pain. Being 24/7 in pain is no life. We've, and actually Sue Stewart called the other day about the rally as well. And this is an issue that we've discussed on the show, and we will do so more in the future. Very, very important, the way the government has just, taken all these folks who depend on pain meds and, kind of thrown them to the wolves because they think that the way to solve the opioid crisis is to begin restricting doctors from prescribing, which, of course, has a chilling effect. Then you end up with all these doctors who are afraid to prescribe what their patients need. This has affected a couple of people very near and dear to me. So this is an issue that is very personal for me. So, and it's important. Politicians, professional politicians, they always have to look like they're doing something. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if what they're doing does more harm than good, as long as it looks good in a campaign ad, right? When it's time to get reelected, if it looks good in a campaign ad, oh, look at what I did. I accomplished this, and if it harms more people than it helps, that really doesn't matter to them because professional politicians are sociopathic in nature. We've got to talk about Iran, obviously, and a landmark show. I'm going to say something nice about Trump. I'm very critical of him. But, when he gets it right, he gets it right. It's, it's a complicated issue, this Iran thing, or Iran. I try to say Iran because I think technically you're supposed to say Iran, but occasionally I still say Iran. But when I say Iran, it sounds like I'm talking about the Flock of Seagulls song. And, of course, you youngins have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's see. But I will share with you I just had a text message exchange with my dad because my dad called my cell phone right before I was about to go on the air. So I had to let it go to voicemail because I was about to go on the air. But I texted him. I said, hey, I'm about to go on the air. I'll call you later. Let's see. So he said, that sounds good. And I said, I'm actually going to say something nice about Trump today. Should be a landmark show. And I figured my dad would appreciate that because he's a big MAGA guy. When I was growing up, he was quite liberal, but I've seen changes in both directions in my family. My father, who was a liberal Democrat when I was a kid, and today he's a big Trump guy, and, he's all MAGA'd out. And on the other hand, my mother's second husband, Greg, when I was a kid, Greg was a conservative Republican, and he was deeply in love with Ronald Wilson Reagan, as most Republicans were. Trump now occupies that same space in the heart of conservatives everywhere. But today, Greg is a liberal Democrat, so it's interesting. So now Dad gave me permission to, well, actually, he didn't say I could literally read the text, but I think he's okay with it. So he said this, because I said, I'm going to say something nice about Trump today. So here's what he said. Finally, Matt, don't you think it's about time? Haha. I'm glad you're going to do that. I believe he is emerging, despite his flaws, as a strong and courageous, effective leader and president. Remember, he is not a politician, and he is not from the doggone swamp. Oh, I think it's supposed to be doggone. My dad does voice to text. He's not from the doggone swamp in the deep state. Congratulations, Matt. I wish I could get you on the radio, but it won't come in here on the seacoast. I mean, he could listen online, but we won't burden him with that. At least for me to have it won't come in on the seacoast, at least for me. Have a great show. Speak well of the president. And if you want, you have my permission to let them know, either in an oblique or direct way, that your father is a supporter of President Trump. And what a first lady, too. Wow. Peace out for now, your dad. So there you go. That's my dad. He loves the president. Okay. Let's get into it. I said yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, or it might have been the day before. I'm not even kidding when I say I feel that in the Trump era, there really is time distortion. I mean, for one thing, it feels like he's been president for a decade. Oh, hello to the Honorable Gary S. Hopper, who joins us in the Facebook live chat, as well as the Honorable Heidi Hamer. It's a bipartisan coalition of New Hampshire state reps. Let's see. Heidi Hamer says, good afternoon, Matt. Nothing good about Trump. Let's see. Well, no, I disagree. Look, I try to give credit where it's due out of fairness. I gave him credit for signing criminal justice reform. I gave him credit for kind of opening things up with North Korea. I mean, I am concerned, as so many others are. Hello to Rhonda Ostrowitz-Favero. Gary Hamer. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Geez, I can't believe I did that. It's not the Honorable Gary S. Hopper who's in the Facebook live chat. It's Gary Hamer, Heidi Hamer's husband. I apologize. I thought you were Gary Hopper. Gary Hamer. I don't think I've ever seen you in the Facebook live chat before. Gary says Trump is entrenched in the deep state. And hello to Wayne Noel, who also joins us in the Facebook live chat. Oh, it's going to be a busy show. That's great. So, but in terms of North Korea, I do share the concern that Trump has been and is continuing to just kind of get rolled on that by Kim Jong-un. But still, I always say I'd rather be talking than not talking, and I'm glad that they're not threatening to annihilate each other on Twitter and things like that. So I try to give credit where I feel it's due. I wish that Trump would give me more opportunities to do that. But I definitely, I think we can safely say that I have far more criticism than praise for Trump. However, look, in my opinion, he absolutely 100% made the right call when he decided to call off that strike on Iran. And I've been saying all along, I mean, now, first of all, just to go back a little bit, so I absolutely 100% disagreed with walking away from the Iran nuclear deal. We won't get into all that. You know, I've talked about it a million times on the show. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but so I disagreed with that. However, for a second, let's take a broader view of things. When Trump was elected, one of the things that I tried to be optimistic about is that I said, well, you know, at least Trump, he may actually give us a more reasonable foreign policy in the sense that all this interventionism and adventurism in the Middle East and elsewhere, maybe we can finally ramp that down for real. Because Trump isn't necessarily part of the military-industrial complex. He kind of came from the outside and whatnot. You know, the kind of foreign policy I thought that we were going to get from Barack Obama. Obama, to me, a very mixed record. Some things I give him great credit for, including in terms of some foreign policy decisions made, but others where I found him to be terribly disappointing. But Trump, you know, he plays a little fast and loose with the timeline when he says he was against the Iraq war from the beginning. No, in terms of public statements, he wasn't. But to be fair, he was one of the earliest folks to say, wow, this was probably a colossal error, when a lot of other people were afraid to say it. He doesn't seem to have any great appetite for interventionism. And I try to be optimistic about that with Trump and say, well, at least, you know, because Hillary Clinton, I've always said, well, I think she's a far more, in the macro, I think a far more competent person than Trump, certainly. I mean, for one thing, she speaks English like she didn't just learn it a couple of weeks ago, but I know even when I'm trying to say something nice about Trump, I can't help but get in my little verbal jabs. But look, you know, Hillary, I always said, to me, she seemed like a neocon, a neoconservative. You know, I thought she would have been very comfortable on the foreign policy team of George W. Bush, for example. So I thought, well, at least with Trump, you know, regardless of the many concerns that so many of us have, at least maybe we'll get a more reasonable foreign policy. Now, unfortunately, what we have gotten is a very disjointed foreign policy and very confusing. And sometimes I want to think it's by design to kind of keep our enemies off base. Wayne Noel says he is a New Yorker. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I think that's to kind of, maybe that's to kind of keep our enemies off base. But then I realize, no, because he also keeps our allies terribly confused, and that's not a good thing. So I don't think it's by design. I don't think there's any three-dimensional chess going on here. I don't think Trump is capable of it. I don't think he thinks strategically. I don't know what goes on in his head. But we have not invaded anyone since Trump became president. Militarily, I mean, there was that very early in his presidency, there was that missile strike in Syria because he wanted to strike at Assad after seeing pictures of dead children, allegedly a gas attack by the Assad regime. So he ordered that strike on that airfield, which was back up and fully operational within 24 hours. So it seemed to be kind of a symbolic gesture, if anything. And I didn't agree with that. And at the time, I thought, oh, no, see? Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's, he talks a good game about being a non-interventionist and wanting to actually get out of these conflicts in the Middle East. But look, he's already, the military-industrial complex, they've already sunk their hooks into him and whatnot. But there really wasn't anything more than that happened in that case. He hasn't followed through on, he said we were going to get out of Syria, which I absolutely 100% agreed with, and then he didn't do it. He said we were going to draw down in Afghanistan. He's still claiming that we've done that. I don't believe that's true. I know the idea of Trump saying something that's not true is just shocking to everybody. But, so there are promises not kept. But he hasn't invaded anybody, and he hasn't really attacked anybody, and he hasn't gotten us into any new wars. There was a lot of saber rattling about Venezuela, which I was just aghast over. I could not believe that we might actually invade. It could still happen, I guess, right? But I couldn't believe that it looked like we might actually invade Venezuela. But that seems to have blown over now, because now we're just, we're worried about Iran. And that appears to be our focus now. So I found it incredibly reassuring. Well, actually, let me back up. So first of all, I got very concerned when, well, like I said, I didn't agree with walking away from the Iran nuclear deal. Then this whole thing with the tanker, this claim that the Iranians attacked that Japanese tanker, which they may have, but see, the thing is, and I'm gonna keep saying this, there is no way the Iranians want to go to war with the United States. There's no way. Unless they're suicidal, there is no way. Even though they might, unless they are truly suicidal and they want to just blow up everybody. Because like I said, I think that is clearly a potential flashpoint for World War III, potentially. Right? Because, we get into a war with Iran, and then the Chinese come in and the Russians come in, not necessarily in that order, and things get very, very frightening very quickly. So there's no way the Iranians want to do that. And these sanctions that we have on the Iranians have been crippling for their economy. So if anything, they'd like to find a way out of this. But when, Mike Pompeo started going on the Sunday morning talk shows on cable news claiming, well, look, we have irrefutable proof that the Iranians attacked that Japanese tanker. I said, this whole thing feels very Gulf of Tonkin to me. And then you've got everybody else, everybody in Europe is saying, hey, we need a little more than just this very grainy video where you can't really see everything. That's not exactly irrefutable proof. And then you've got the Japanese. It was their tanker. And the Japanese are saying, to Mike Pompeo and everybody else, hey, guys, we don't think it was the Iranians. We're talking about their tanker, and they're saying, we don't think it was them. So it was very frustrating to me. And if you're a longtime listener, you know how much I am concerned about the presence of John Bolton and his very frightening mustache being in Trump's ear all the time. So I didn't like the way things were headed. But then it kind of looked like Trump wasn't going to actually do anything other than, I don't know. Can we sanction Iran any more than we already are? I don't know. But then, so this happens with the drone. And Trump is making comments about, well, Iran made a very big mistake shooting down that drone. But then he tells the media, and this is where because I was like, at first I was like, okay, we're saying the drone was shot down over international airspace. The Iranians are claiming, no, it was shot down over Iranian airspace. So hello to Kyle Heavey in the Facebook live chat. So they're claiming they had every right to shoot it down. But again, before we get to Trump's comments on that, again, let me remind you, I mean, this is just my opinion, but I'm sure I'm right. I guess I'm always sure I'm right, otherwise I wouldn't have opinions. But there's no way the Iranians would intentionally attack us directly or shoot down our drone if they knew, if they realized it was our drone, or if it was just in international airspace where it has every right to be flown. There's no way. There's no way they're going to provoke us militarily intentionally, and that's why I'm very skeptical about the tanker, and I'm pretty skeptical about this drone. I mean, a drone was shot down. We know that. We know it was a U.S. drone. The Iranians have not denied shooting down the drone. They own that. They said, yes, we shot it down, but it was over our airspace. We have a right to shoot it down. Why are you flying a drone in our airspace? And of course, we're saying, no, it wasn't in your airspace. So that's where the dispute seems to be. But the Iranians, again, the Iranians are not denying that they shot it down. They're just saying, the dispute is over where it happened. So then Trump says, and this is where I thought it got pretty interesting, and again, reassuring in a sense. Hello, Kyle.
Well, good day, sir.
So then Trump says, well, it was probably an accident. Because, again, no one's disputing it happened. Trump is saying it was probably just some rogue general or somebody who just got a little trigger happy, shot down our drone. So I saw that. I saw him saying that, and I thought, he's looking for an off-ramp. This is his off-ramp. He's trying to find a way out of this because he doesn't want to go to war over this.
And I had a good time reading earlier about how, back in 2011, he was all about saying Obama's going to get into a war with Iran.
He did say that,
and, or Syria, and how, he's worried everyone. He's got to figure out a way to kind of get people's, interest in the Obama and how something like that happens. And now, and now look what happens now. Here we are 7 years later,
Right.
All right. Now all of a sudden, but geez, crazy week altogether. Between, just in Philadelphia the past 3 days, how they've had one of the biggest cocaine busts in the history of drug busts, and then also the oil refinery this morning that exploded. I don't know if you saw the footage of that.
Oh, but, I saw something,
But yeah, altogether, it's like, what's going on with all this oil stuff?
Right, right.
It's like, Iran has got a lot of oil, and, now it's like, should we stock up on gas prices right now? Should we buy a stock into, Gulf or into Irving or into something like that? Exxon Mobil? I'm not sure what to think these days.
Right.
Where's all this money going to be going?
Yeah. It does create chaos in the markets. That's for sure. But then when Trump said, "Well, I don't think it was. I don't think it was intentional," I immediately felt better.
At least to know. I mean, it's a really expensive paper airplane that got.
Yeah,
really expensive.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. It's kind of cool how they work. How the pilots are in I think they're in California. The pilots for those drones. Yeah. And it just, it's interesting time to be alive here.
It is. Yeah. So then, and then the story breaks that we were going to, Trump actually, because he can't help himself. Oh, hello to Rocky Huber in the Facebook live chat. Oh, and Wayne says, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Please, if you can, Wayne, clarify what part you wouldn't be too sure about. So then the news breaks that, Trump said that, they were cocked and loaded.
Yes.
Which I always thought the expression was locked and loaded, but I think Trump tweeted cocked and loaded.
He's a cocky guy.
He is, yes. And then that they were ready to go, and then he said no at the last minute. He said, because
150 people were going to die.
150 people were going to die, so he said no. Now, here's what's very, very interesting. So, this might work out. I can't believe. I know that MAGA people will say, "Well, this is the genius of Trump. He's playing 3-dimensional chess here." See, I can't help but start to do the Trump arms when I get into this part. But
just don't start speaking like him, because that's gonna get it'll throw me for a loop in here.
Right? No, I speak in complete coherent sentences. I could never speak like Trump, but when he did that, I thought there may be an opportunity because there's been an interest expressed in actually sitting down with the Iranians. This may be that opening.
I mean, at the same time, we didn't expect anything to happen with North Korea, and look what happened there. He did have a sit-down meeting, and yes, our relationship is still not very strong with North Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely... We had hopes, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, never mind.
Right.
We're out. Good luck. You go back to your Chinese friends and stuff like that.
But they're still very much in love. Kim Jong-un apparently continues to write Trump letters. So
it's the romance that will never happen.
So they're not totally on the rocks.
Not yet.
I'm sure Melania isn't happy with those letters, but there may be a unique this whole thing may have created a unique opportunity to actually do something. Again, I mean, like I said, I didn't agree with walking away from the nuclear deal to begin with. But this may have created a unique opportunity to sit down with the Iranians, because Trump comes out of this looking like not only did a cooler head prevail, because I'm like I said, I'm giving him credit.
Yeah,
he could have. He made the right call.
I mean, he just said he wanted 1,000 more troops over there. So who knows what they're ready for right now?
Yeah, true. But he made the right call on this, although it's scary that it got as far as it did.
Oh, yeah. It's how many ships do we, that's the tough thing, is how many ships do we know? I talked to one of my friends in the Air National Guard, and he's been doing a lot of training.
Oh, really?
Him with the, I guess, Ohio and Pennsylvania and New Hampshire. We've all been working together with the helicopters to get out and get going. So apparently in the Concord area, there's a lot of helicopters that have been flying around for training missions to prepare to load and unload really quickly out of the helicopters in preparation for possibly setting those helicopters overseas. So it's interesting to think that. I mean, my buddy said he's going to be leaving in October for another year to go over there. So it's it's going to be his third time going over there. So it's,
right.
I'd rather him come back safe, because that I still want to play basketball and sports with him.
Of course,
know what he's going to be dealing with over there. So.
Yeah. Because if we and that's why I say it's scary with how close it came to them following through, because I keep saying that's a trigger point for World War III potentially. I mean,
absolutely.
That's really, that would get out of control really, really quickly. And some people get cocky about it and say, well, Iraq was easy, and the invasion was. I mean, the occupation went to hell pretty quick, but the invasion was pretty quick and easy. But Iran is, or Iran, I keep trying to say it correctly, is 4 times the size of Iraq. And it's not...
I don't know much about, that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, we focus so much on Iraq and Afghanistan that I don't know how big Iran's forces are.
They have an enormous military, and they have powerful friends. And that's the thing. Iraq was kind of an island amongst them. Like Saddam Hussein didn't have any friends.
No, he did not.
He really didn't.
He was his own friend.
But the Iranians have a couple of very powerful friends, the Chinese and the Russians.
Yeah.
So it's a nightmare scenario. North Korea, too, by the way. If we ever went into North Korea, that's also if we hit North Korea, I mean, you'd see... Within probably 30 minutes, potentially millions of dead South Koreans.
Ugh.
Because they could, even without the use of any nuclear weapons, with strictly conventional weapons, from what I understand, the North Koreans could be in Seoul, South Korea within 30 minutes. They would just overrun the DMZ easily and just...
This feels like a 7th grade project of like, okay, color in the blue, that's the good guys, and color in the red, they're the bad guys. If World War III were to happen right now.
Right,
They could definitely have a pretty interesting, colorful world map right now of countries to, obviously North America, we're good here. We haven't made the Mexicans or Canadians too angry, I think.
Right.
I don't know about Mexico. I know Canada at least will help us for a little bit.
Yes.
And since
they are part of. We have part of NATO. So
yeah, NATO's still good, going strong. We haven't pieced out of that, just like we've done a lot of the other clean air acts and stuff like that we've been a part of.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the breaking news that they're targeting ICE is targeting 10 different cities this weekend, trying to get 2,000 immigrants. So the cities are Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New Orleans, New York, and San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, Sunday's going to be an interesting day around the country here as we're dealing with other stuff around the world as well. So
yes.
You're gonna keep going with a lot of topics for your show here for a long time coming, Matt.
Well, like I said earlier, I wanted to give Trump credit today for making the right call on Iran, but there are not. I wish there were more opportunities to give him credit, but then. This thing. Yeah, what did he say with his launch for 2020 for his campaign? We're going to deport millions of illegal immigrants. That's his term. I don't use it. I call them undocumented immigrants. Mm-hmm. Oh, he calls them illegal aliens. That's the term of art for the right. What does it accomplish to even do these raids? It's fix the immigration system and then figure out the other part. But
yeah,
this is madness. It doesn't help the economy any.
No, I feel like it stinks when we look at the bad stuff, like when they get arrested and when they do stuff. But then there's others that are really just trying to make a living here. They're trying to survive. They whatever they just came from. I was down in Atlantic City last weekend. That's why, unfortunately, I was not able to have a sports show. I was hoping to come back. My voice was gone from last week, and it's still like a little bit deeper right now than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I noticed.
Okay,
yeah.
It's been a week since I've almost been back, and it's so much deeper than what I'm used to. So maybe I should start calling a 900 number or something like that. Hello, ladies. But
now would be a good time.
Now would be the good time. I might as well start somewhere, right?
Maybe get some voiceover work.
Oh, that's a good point too.
Yeah,
Thanks, Matt, for that.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, it's my voice was gone last week, and so it's been like a week since I've been behind the microphone here at the station. So it's just kind of nice to be a guest on your show here, and just I mean, you got to take it what you can with thanking Trump for something like that, with not putting us all on pins and needles of oh crap, we might be at war again. So, because here we are trying to get out of Afghanistan and stuff like that. I don't know how that's thing is. I know we're still over there, but how much are we really over there?
Got to guard those poppy fields.
Yes.
Yeah.
The poppy fields. Oh. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Shifting gears for a moment. As you know, I'm not a sports guy, but I heard something. Is this true that? There was a 17-inning baseball game recently.
Yeah, that was a rough one the other night.
That happened.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Red Sox have had an interesting season so far when they've gone to a lot of extra inning games. They were up in Minnesota the other night, and I had got done filming an event. We came back here, was encoding it. I'm like, all right, I know the alarm goes off at midnight. I need to get out of here because I was paying attention to the game. I figured I'd go to a local establishment and have a beer and watch the rest of this game.
Yeah.
They hit a home run in the 13th, and all of a sudden I was like, yes, we're going to win. And then the Twins came back, scored a run in the bottom of the 13th.
Yeah.
And then at this point, we've used every single player and every single pitcher for the rest of this game. So the guy that had been out there had pitched basically 8 innings as it is, and he gave up a single on a controversial call. A guy got to third base, and eventually the Red Sox lost. But they've still been doing very well lately. They've thankfully have possibly hit their peak and can keep going for a couple more weeks. But 17 innings the other night.
So
5 hours and 42 minutes.
5 hours and 42 minutes.
And mind you, it starts an hour later here because of Central Time. So games didn't start till 8 and then didn't get over. I was in bed. I knew I had to be up the next morning, so I was listening to it on the radio. When they lost, I was just like slam the radio, because I still use the radio every now and then. You know,
Yeah.
you can only get two into your phones and stuff like that. That sometimes you gotta just appreciate the radio, such as what we're talking on and people are listening to right now.
So is that the longest game in history?
Longest game is actually 27 innings.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, they had to play 2 days.
Oh my God.
Because it was I think it was 3:30 in the morning, and then they were just like, we gotta call timeout on this. We let's just pick this up tomorrow, because the fans and attendance were falling asleep. The umpire, like, it was just, everyone was exhausted, and it was the Pawtucket Red Sox. It was the AAA. If you want to go MLB, I can look that up for you. But the longest game in history, because it was Wade Boggs, if you remember that name.
I do, yeah. Didn't he get in trouble? Do I have the right guy? Did he get in trouble for steroids?
I don't think Wade Boggs did. He's a Hall of Famer, and he was kind of before that time.
Oh,
he was
okay.
like 80s into early 90s.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of somebody else.
If Wade, I don't think he did, but I could be wrong. But he was a very popular left fielder for the Red Sox, and then he ended up jilting us and going to the Yankees, won a World Series there, and then to finish his career with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, as they were at the time.
Yeah.
So, yes, 27 innings though.
Do you know the total time on that?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with like 9 hours at that point.
Wow.
That's it was before a little bit. I was a little too young for this, but let me longest game in.
So I heard somebody commenting that baseball, it's like the only major sport where there's no clock.
I apologize. I was actually wrong on 33 innings.
Wow.
8 hours, 25 minutes. Pawtucket Red Sox and the Rochester Red Wings. Yeah, that's 33 innings. And we're that's only half of what the Red Sox had the other night with 17. So
what year was that?
That was April 18th into the 19th, 1981 at McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Wow.
The final score was 3-2.
Jeez.
Record set in the game. Total innings, total time for one game at 8 hours and 25 minutes. Total outs for one team in one game, 99 outs. Because there's 3 innings and went 33, so 33 times 3 is 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, they broke all sorts of records, and hopefully that game never happened. Nothing ever comes close to that again. Russ Larrabee of Pawtucket struck out 7 times. That's a lot of swings and misses for that guy right there. Yeah, and the umpire had 882 pitches behind the plate because he was behind. He saw every single pitch that happened in that game. So 882 pitches total in that game in 1981.
Wow, that's amazing.
I don't think I could say that. I remember the first season here with the Fisher Cats. I left the game. It was like the 19th inning, and I was like,
"Oh, really?
All right, I've seen 2 different games."
No kidding.
And we get to the car, we start driving down Maple Street, and you hear the celebration that the game was over. I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
really?" We got sick of just being there. It was again another April game where I was freezing. I'm like, "All right, let's go." Like, I can't do this anymore. So yeah, sometimes you just get to a breaking point where I know that's not sounds like a sports fan right there, but unless it's a really important game, an April game, you don't really need to stay there for the whole entire thing. You get to a point where you're like, okay,
right.
I don't have a strong enough jacket or a hat and gloves. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. You got to leave them wanting more.
Yes,
but that doesn't always work out in sports, I guess.
I mean, my favorite game I ever went to was in 2004. The Red Sox were down 3-0 in the American League Championship Series versus the hated New York Yankees. The Yankees just needed one more game to win, and they were going to go to the World Series. And I went to that game, bought it off a scalper, got a decent rate for that game, and didn't expect to go to the game, so I didn't really have a jacket. I had to buy a sweatshirt at the game, which obviously was super expensive for me being quite young at the time. So I'm like, oh man, there goes all my money.
Yeah.
Stayed for the whole game. Red Sox ended up winning on a David Ortiz home run, and then they won 7 more games in a row and won the first World Series in 86 years. But I got to stay. I was at that game that night to, for David Ortiz to really make a name for himself, and hopefully the curse was gone, as they say, and
right.
If that's what you believe in.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big curse fan.
Yeah.
It's funny to watch it and talk about it, but
right.
the players play. It's not like some ghost is right there. Like, you're not going to be able to catch the ball anymore. You're not going to be able to swing and miss.
I wonder if any of these MAGA people at Trump's rallies ever, just because he goes on forever, I wonder if they ever wish that he would, because he'll do like a 2-hour speech.
And he'll be late, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think I dealt with 3 of his rallies back in 2016.
Yeah.
Portsmouth Toyota, I remember that one because the media stand was frosted over, and it was so slippery.
Yeah.
So here you are with an expensive camera and trying to get set up, and you're just sliding around.
Yeah.
And this event was supposed to start at 8. I don't think it started until like 9:15.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there like, cool, it's cold. I'm just kind of hanging out here.
Do you remember how long he just kind of meandered
you know
for?
All I remember from that is I was so sick of waiting around that I started dancing to the Backstreet Boys because he had a bunch of random music.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And one of the songs that he had was "I Want It That Way," and we had to hear it over and over again because it was the same 5 songs.
Yeah.
So I was like, at this point, I've heard this song I think 9 times, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna dance to it at this point.
Yeah.
And then he had everyone in the crowd turn around and just yell at us because the media doesn't get it right. Turn around. Look at all these guys with cameras here. They don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. We're gonna drain this. Blah blah blah. He said all of the same things, and then I saw him here at the DoubleTree, and then there's one other event, but I just kind of. You black out sometimes. You're just like, all right, I'm there to record, and I got to get a story in by 5 o'clock about this. So.
Yeah.
I stand up here giving speeches for an hour and a half, many times without notes.
It's amazing he's able to do that, though. Just many times without notes.
I had to say a speech last night, and it was interesting where I had notes, but I kept losing where I was on the pages, so I just had to ad-lib the whole entire time, and it was, I definitely wasn't yelling at my crowd to turn around and look at the cameras and tell them to get it right.
Right.
And those people weren't very nice to us when they turned around at us. I can say that. I was like, it's not me.
I bet. Yeah.
I just want to do sports, guys.
Right. Oh, hello to Fred Bonig from the Daily Ripple, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. And Rocky Huber says, "Don't believe in curses? I guess you've never heard of the curse of the EZG." Yeah.
It is in this room.
Yes, you can feel
in that room. It's more towards the windows, I feel like.
Right.
He does sit over there quite a bit.
Yes. He's always here, even when he's not here.
I feel like he's behind me. I don't even want to turn around right now. Maybe I got your back. You got mine, right?
Yeah.
You got my 6.
I thought I saw.
There we go.
No, that's Jenny. That's not EZG. Don't worry.
No. Thankfully it's just Jenny.
No, there was. I was at a. I don't think I ever mentioned this on the air. When I was at Rob Azevedo's event at the Bookery, I was talking to someone who is a fan of this show, and I met her there, and she was saying how much she really likes the show, but then she was asking me about EZG and what's his deal. And I was kind of like, well, why don't you ask him? He's right behind you. And she was like, oh, no. Like, she was like super like embarrassed and self-conscious because I was like, yeah, he's sitting right behind you. He didn't hear anything.
Well,
but
he needs to perk up a little bit more.
Yes.
Get his own fan crowd right now.
He's a big star.
He very much is.
Yes.
I wonder when he's going to be out staging Rob at the next book signing or something like that.
Right.
It could be what would EZG's book be?
Oh, I don't know. It'd probably be. I think what it would probably be ideally, if he were to publish something, it would be like a compilation of some of his best entertainment reports.
He does do a pretty good job for Peter in the morning.
Yes.
To talk about what's going on around here.
Goldenrod Pete, as he's now known.
I know.
Yes.
It's summer's cooking, and it's happy first day of summer, by the way.
Oh yes, first day of summer.
I know it doesn't really feel it, and it's been cloudy all day, but at least it'll be still cloudy and light till about 8:40 tonight. So.
That's true. But can you imagine like having just a compendium of like you could just look up on a certain date like what was EZG's movie of the week you know,
I need to keep taking classes because we can get this going. You know, it could be an interesting class subject that I have to make a website.
Yes.
Just make a calendar and okay, this is what he did this day. This is what he did this day. So
that'd be very exciting.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I will. I'll keep you in mind here. We might have something cooking for sure.
Yes.
I think we should do this.
What? So what did you do last night? You should tell us about that event.
So I was. I've been donating blood since 2003, I think it is, and somehow someone from the American Red Cross got a hold of my story and I might have spoken to someone, and next thing I know, I was asked to go speak at their the annual New Hampshire and Vermont American Red Cross meeting, which is held usually somewhere in between New Hampshire and Vermont. So they had this meeting yesterday up at the Monshire Museum right over the border from Hanover. So I had to drive through the Dartmouth University and got to Monshire Museum, and basically just had to just speak about how blood donation is a really important part of life for a lot of people. You know, whether it be through cancer or through a car accident, blood donation is always a very important thing. And basically, I started giving blood years ago, and I gave it with my brother because he told me there would be food and drink, and I was like, all right, cool. And he got me motivated to go, so I went and donated blood with him, and then over years, Vermont 802 number, the American Red Cross kept calling me, and I'm like, all right, I'll go donate here. So I was never really like strict on it. And then back in December 2010, my brother was living in Australia, and he unfortunately gave me a phone call saying he was going to be moving back. He had been dealing with some health issues at 30 years old, and come to find out he had a stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. So he moved back. I was going with him to a lot of his cancer treatments. You know, you get to learn a lot about cancer while you're watching, a loved one or a friend try to get chemo and the IV drips and what's going in here and what's doing this and the anti-vomit medication that they give you. And he had gotten down 11, 12 treatments when, unfortunately, just something, he kind of came down with a chest cold, and, because he had no immune system, it kind of just spread. And unfortunately, my brother passed away at 31 years old from not cancer itself. The cancer was gone, but the basically overdose of chemo itself. And so toxicity in his lungs his lungs were toast. So
no kidding.
It was a tough thing. It was weird because right now we're having a nice conversation. I can talk all about it.
Yeah.
But when you get in front of a crowd of 50 plus people and you're like,
I can imagine. Yeah.
I got to talk about this, and I have no one to feed off of to know that okay, you're understanding this. So, got through it, and ever since he's passed, I've gotten into there's 3 different ways to give blood, and double power reds are a great way to give because your blood goes into a machine and they give the stuff that they do need, and then the stuff that they don't need, they'll give back to you. So I get this plasma put back into my body, and it's like a really cool rush that goes into your body because it's come out of your body, but now it's pushing it back in. So it gives you like this adrenaline high while you're sitting there. And so since he's passed in July of 2011, I've given blood so many times that they thought they should honor me, and I've been thankful to have given 70 times and have saved 203 lives so far just from my blood. So that's why they for a young person like myself, it was nice to know that my blood's going to something good. And it was a very moving speech from what I was told. I just same thing with you. You just get up there and you speak, and you hope it's a good show. You hope that people listen. And I even got emails today saying of how moving it was a speech. So it was a nice feeling last night of knowing that I hit some heartstrings with telling my story. So, thank you to the American Red Cross, and like I said, if people would be able to donate, I highly recommend it because you don't know how your blood could help someone else that might need it.
Right. And Jenny is here.
Hi.
And
hello, Jenny.
Hello to Arnetta Shepard in the Facebook live chat. And the Honorable Heidi Hamer says Trump is obviously not wearing underpants.
That's nice.
Okay.
I wanted to say congratulations to you, and I wanted to thank you. I am a blood recipient from white blood cells. When I was 17 years old, I was nearly killed by a wrong-way driver.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So I'm here today because somebody donated, and those platelets were used to help me live because my body couldn't clot the blood off on its own. I've lost too much blood. But I wanted to bring up something really interesting to you. I'm not even sure if you realize something else that you may be a part of that you may not necessarily know. There's a treatment called IVIG, which is IV or intravenous given immunoglobulins.
Okay.
That is developed through blood donations, but it takes no less than 1,000 donations to make one dose of this very special treatment.
Wow.
This IV treatment can actually help to extend the lives and better the lives of people who have reflex sympathetic dystrophy or complex regional pain syndrome, lupus, and many other ailments that involve the immunosystem, because what it does is it takes the immunoglobulins that are wonderful from your blood and put it into the body of somebody who doesn't have the ability to do that for themselves. They can't produce them well on themselves.
Yeah.
So they end up with too much red blood cells, really, and not enough of the good old white blood cells in there. And people's lives are legit changed.
Wow.
Not only lives saved, but changed, extended. It's what a simple blood donation can do is absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I could not sit and listen to your story and not come on and say thank you.
No worries. It's, first time I gave, I didn't think much of it. I said in my speech how, I can't remember everything from that day. I remember it was really hot. It was an August day, and I know my brother and I were racing to see who would be the fastest to give blood. And I know that's really bad to think about, but I don't remember who won, but I just remember I was like, oh, this is an easy, like, we were here for 45 minutes. And so now, I give I plan 3 different times a year. One is New Year's Eve. One is as soon as I can in April, and the other one's for the Gail Singer blood drive here at the usually at the Radisson
That's
Doubletree.
amazing.
So I try to do it every 4 months that they allow me to, and it's just nice to know that stories like that. Where there was so many people last night where here I was like, they're like, here, go to the bar, go do this, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I turn around and I have like a line of people wanting to talk to me. I'm like, hi
what
guys.
You're doing is amazing because you're helping people, but more importantly, you're raising awareness, and hopefully people that are listening to your story and hearing what you're talking about are going to be willing to roll up their sleeve and take an hour out of their time and donate, knowing that they can legit save lives, change
and
lives.
same thing with you telling me that story. I mean, it makes me want to give more, and I can only give so much.
Yeah, you can only give so much.
You really need some blood to go.
Much. Yeah, you do have to keep some of your own. I worked in an emergency room department, and I've seen blood products save lives time and time again. To be on the receiving end, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But to know what you're doing can do dramatic changes in lives.
We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, this is Easy G.
Oh, Easy G.
Oh, look at that. He did hear us.
Yes. Well, Easy G, hang on. Here's your...
Yeah.
He's here.
That's right. His time is now.
Run away in fear. Oh no.
Your time is up. My time is now. You can't see me. My time is now.
What time?
It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me. My time is now. In case you forgot.
All right, Easy G. Your time is
funny.
now.
They used to play that song all the time at the Manchester Monarch game, and of course now with the team folding, that song will be folding with them.
Well, no, the song continues with you.
True. There you go.
And
I
with
just want to
John
give you
Cena.
a quick jingle and say happy summer to everybody in the studio tonight.
Wow.
Well, thank you,
Especially
Easy.
summer now.
Yeah.
Happy first day of summer, bud.
That's right.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
Youngest day of the
may it
year.
be your best summer ever.
Do you believe in the curse of the Easy G? Easy G?
The what?
The curse of the Easy G.
I wasn't aware that I had a curse.
Yes. Well, you're not the one who's cursed.
Yeah, well, I'm getting better now. My feet are all wrapped up again, but I'm feeling better.
Well, good. We're glad, EZG.
EZG, what's the most entertainment story that you can give us
You guys
for the
have a
weekend?
great rest of your show, and
Oh, yeah, no.
Shut down.
You really tried that, didn't
Thanks,
you?
EZG.
You really tried.
Well,
Yeah, the listening ears are not on, you know.
I know. It's all good. I really tried for it, but just to go back to that, my story from last night. So the last time I gave was April 22nd, and that morning I actually went up to the Payson Center where the cancer treatment is at Concord Hospital, and sat there with my friend Eve, who's 26 years old and is fighting stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
So I went up there to the Payson Center, hung out with her, just sat there and saw everything that she was going through, make sure she was all good, and then came to work here for a little bit, and then later that night donated blood after I finished working here at the station. So it's just sometimes I add too much to my plate. And
you're a busy guy,
and that's why I thank you for having me back on the show.
You're always welcome.
I don't try to run around. It's
I
like,
know. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go film this with the mayor, or I gotta do this groundbreaking, or I gotta do so.
Right.
I mean, today I was at the American Legion convention ceremony that's being held at the DoubleTree this weekend. So there's a lot of gentlemen who have served that are part of the American Legion that are here in Manchester this weekend. So make sure to thank a veteran when you can, if you see them on Elm Street this weekend.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's been kind of nice to hear like people find me to be a hero, and I just think of myself as Kyle. I don't think of anything else. I just wake up every morning, put on the pants the same way as everyone else, and go live my life. But at least
Meanwhile, your little blood cells are off.
I know.
Saving lives.
And that's what's cool is I get
Isn't that cool?
I get the emails it's usually 20 days after I donate that congratulations, your blood has been taken to a hospital. I think the last one I went to was like New Brunswick, Maine, or something like that.
Oh, so they actually notify you where it's going?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
They give me the updates on where my blood has gone to.
Do they do that for everybody, or just?
Wow.
I don't know.
That's neat to know.
I just know that
from being on the other side.
Yeah, I get told like, hey,
wow,
cool, my blood does get used. It's there's only been one time in the history of the American Red Cross that they've actually had too much blood that they had to eventually get rid of it, waste it away.
Yeah.
And that was because after September 11th, there was just a huge amount of people that wanted to donate in some way or another.
Unfortunately, there wasn't enough recipients.
And there was enough recipients. They and that was the hardest thing for them to do was like, it's not, your blood is only good for so long before it has to go to someone. So
you never know what you're doing. I can tell you from personal experience, I have legit worked with the Massachusetts State Police to have them escort a driver from Boston to Concord to deliver blood in an emergent basis for a patient whose life was in jeopardy.
Wow.
That really does happen on occasion. It's rare.
Yeah.
I mean, normally, you don't have to go to that extreme, but it was somebody with a very, very rare blood type and disorder and whatnot that had to have specific matching. And it was a wild situation to have to be, getting in touch with PD to arrange escort to get this blood to save a life. And it did it.
Yeah, so it's a amazing thing. Just we see blood, and we just know where our blood is in our bodies and how people need our blood, and it's why it's nice to know that I'm doing something right in life, right?
Yes.
I think you're doing more than one thing right. I think it's more than the blood. I mean, we love you for that, but
yes, yeah. So, and at least I can, same thing with your jokes. They're always wonderful to hear. So that's why,
That's an insider.
Yeah, exactly. She's a funny one over here. I can say that,
That's an interesting compliment to get. I like that. I'll take that.
Well, there we go. See,
where's
the show gone to?
I actually had blood thrown on me once. I don't know if I've ever told this. Yeah, it was. It was by a member of PETA because I used to. I don't do this anymore, but back in the day, I used to like to wear like an all black leather suit, like the Catwoman, and just kind of hang out on Elm Street.
Oh, really?
And then one night,
leather suit, huh?
How this city has changed.
Yeah.
Did you wear underwear underneath that, or inquiring minds want to know?
No, definitely not. You couldn't. I couldn't fit that. And then all of a sudden, I hear this voice yelling "murderer," and she's throwing blood on me, on my leather suit. And then I look up, and it's Chrissy Hind from The Pretenders. And then she ran away, and I chased her, not because I was mad, but I wanted her autograph, and because she's big with animal rights, but she just kind of vanished around a corner.
It's a good thing that cell phones weren't around as much as they are now.
I know.
That could have been an interesting video to watch, for sure.
Yes, well, then I'd have proof that she ruined my Catwoman suit.
Ugh.
I still want to get back to this Catwoman suit.
At first, I was thinking you were at like a Guar show, and that's how the blood got on you. But
No.
Could you imagine? I want to see that.
What?
He's got the hair for it. We could do it.
Yes.
We could tease him up, put him in the big boots.
Could do
some
what?
Spike collar.
I don't know what you mean by
work.
you could do it. Would do what?
We seem to know what we're talking about. Why don't
I
you,
don't know what
Maddie?
I don't know what you have in mind.
What's the plans for the weekend, guys?
I'm free.
You're free, Matt?
I'll be in front of the computer.
He's free.
I'll be working.
He's free? Okay.
Yeah, he's free. We can
I'm
arrange
always
that.
working. But
You're
yeah.
a hard-working man.
I might.
You need to give the information to the people and the music and everything like that. We understand you. We thank you for all that you do for the station and the music of the world.
Well, I thank you, but I'm no easy G. I can't.
know.
I appreciate the appreciation, but
We're trying to make this Friday fun.
Right.
Friday fun.
Oh, we have another call. Maybe this will be Easy G calling back. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Good afternoon. It's Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Oh, Gene Simmons of Kiss. Even better. Kiss is my favorite band. I don't know if you know that, Kyle.
There's so many things I want to say. Are you up all night to sleep all day, or
That's
that's the wrong band. Sorry,
that's Slaughter. But they did tour together. They did a very successful tour together.
Sports teams. Remember, he's a sports guy.
Right.
He's a sports guy.
Listen, I've got to make this quick because I'm actually on tour as we speak in between songs.
Yes.
So I wanted to, I just heard Jenny talking about dressing you up as Guar. You see, everybody here got it except for you, Matt. But I wanted to suggest that instead of dressing you up as one of the members of Guar, that we are looking for a new member of KISS.
Oh.
And I would suggest maybe dressing you up as Ace Frehley.
Wow.
Ooh.
What happened to
I think he's drooling.
What happened to Tommy? Is he out? You need a new Ace Frehley?
Yes, Tommy's going to be working over at Creamland when we come back to the States.
Oh my! What? You couldn't get him in a Goldenrod? He has to slum it at Creamland?
They're far too famous, busy, and well staffed over there at Goldenrod.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Well, let us know when you get back. I'd like to see
Give it some thought, Matt.
I would love it. Count me in. What do I have to do?
Learn an
Well, you have to wear
instrument?
makeup and some really, really high shoes and play the guitar.
Okay. I can do two of those things.
You can, Gina. I'd like to have you take a guess at which ones those are. The 2 out of the 3 he just mentioned that he can do.
I can play a little bit of guitar.
Any Kiss?
Yeah, I mean, but I can't play the solos.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah.
Put a bass in his
Well, I
hands
do
and
happen to
make
know
it
that Matt is a brilliant songwriter.
I am.
prolific even.
Yes, that's true.
All right, I gotta go. I'm about to go back on stage and do Love Gun, an extended version, so I've got to go. Have fun, kids.
All right, thank you, Gene
Does he do
Simmons
that
of
with
Kiss.
Does he do that with the Flower Pot Man?
What?
Does he do that with the Flower Pot Man?
I don't get it.
Really?
I know.
You don't?
I know who the Flower Pot Man refers to, but I don't get the. Why would he?
Oh, he pays me. I tell you, I try. I try. It goes wing right over the head.
Oh, nice accents. I like that. I sound like the Taco Bell dog.
You do. Tuki to Taco Bell?
Si, señorita. Mi Taco Bell is muy
Si,
excelente.
senor.
I did stop at Taco Bell last week in New Jersey on my way back. Atlantic City's a lot further than I expected, guys. I don't know if you've
And
ever
you
been
lived
down
to
there.
tell about it. Very good.
Yeah, I've never been to Atlantic City.
As Matt, you could hear in the background, my voice still has not come back. At first, I was thinking it was like the smoke in the casinos, but that was Saturday night. Now here it is Friday night, so it's almost been a week, and it's been maybe puberty is hitting me again. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening, but it's been entertaining to be able to know that my voice is not all the way there. I drink in tea. I've had lemon.
But it doesn't hurt, does it?
Not at all.
Oh, well.
It's weird when it cracks.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Were you like yelling at people?
You definitely have to. I mean,
you have to be
there
heard,
was
right?
exotic women that were dancing around us in a very loud club. The club that we
And
went
what
to.
does that have to do with you?
We were talking louder.
Being loud.
Because we were talking louder to each other.
To
because
each
the,
other.
Because the music was loud.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean,
I'll buy that. Sure. You buying that, Maddie? I ain't buying that. No.
I mean, the music's loud in those places.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they don't want to hear you betting or anything.
Well, I don't want to get into that because that still brings back some sad memories of my money going fast. Okay, at the
You
casino.
go to gamble to have fun, not to get rich.
That's true. I had fun until
you realized how much you did.
Until I was like, oh, I really wanted black, and now it's red. Oh crap. But either way, it was a great time. I will send you guys this song. We some reason I've never heard this song in my life, but it became the hit of our trip. It's called Bear Force One, and it's the most ridiculous song you'll ever hear. It's gonna get stuck in your head, and that's what we rocked out to every single time.
I heard some guys on the radio talking about Bear Force One.
I had never heard it until I thought it was a joke that, my friend rolled up. We had a 15-passenger van that we all rode down in, and he pulled up listening to it. I was like, oh my God, this is the most awful song in my life. And then we heard it another time and another time, and eventually it just became the most catchiest song. Then it became our hit. So we even rode up to the casino rocking out to that song.
Is that something I can play on the air?
Oh yes, it's you're gonna judge me, but you're gonna laugh so badly.
So we gotta,
and I highly recommend the video for everyone at home, because the video makes it even worse because there's a dance to it.
But is it? So when I look up Bear
something we can
Force
learn?
One, I'm getting
That could be
all
fun.
kinds of like Bear Force One Bruins, Bear Force One.
It should be the top one.
Fortnite.
It should be like 3 or 4
Bear-
guys in
Bear-
pastel-colored shirts.
Oh, yeah, I think I found it.
It's very awkward. And Jenny, you're looking at me like, oh God, what is in store for us?
Okay,
here?
but it's clean.
It's very clean. It's
Okay.
Been to Ozfest. You can't get me.
Oh yeah, those were the days.
Oh yes, I went to more than one.
I went. I was more of the
Les the
Warped
Limo
Tour.
Driver was my favorite show.
It's gonna start off with that weird introduction to the song, but
Okay.
you're gonna laugh at it for sure.
All right, so we'll give this a listen because I'm curious because I've been
Oh,
hearing
gosh.
about it. All right, so here it is, Bear Force One on Matt Connarton Unleashed on WMNH 95.3 FM. Oh, I should wait.
We
and see
can
if-
stop after the 30 seconds.
I should wait and
promise
see
you.
if there's an
No,
ad.
no.
No,
We might as well get it
We'll
stopped.
play
It's
the
a Good Friday.
We'll play the whole thing because we had to take
Friday.
we had to take
All
our
right.
midpoint break anyway.
I
so
think it's 3 minutes 46 seconds, and it's
Yeah.
We're gonna get the
Oh, that's Maddie bathroom length.
yes.
all right, here it is.
Viewers of a weak disposition might want to turn away now.
give me summertime love.
Boys, boys, boys.
Let the summertime roll, let the summertime roll.
Boys, boys, boys.
We're looking for a good time.
Boys, boys, boys.
Get ready for our love.
Boys, boys, boys.
We're looking for a good time.
Boys, boys, boys.
We're ready for your love.
Tay, 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 tay.
Can't stop now, don't you know? I ain't never gonna let you go, go, go. Can't stop now, don't you know? I ain't never gonna let you go, go, go. All I know is that to me, you look like you're lots of fun. Open up your loving arms, watch out, here I come, 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 come. Girl, I'm my love. Girl, I'm my love. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round. Your love. Their force one. Their force hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Their force one.
You are somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn. It's 7 a.m. Say it in the street, that's a knockout, but you say it in a tweet, that's a cop out, and I'm just like, hey, are you okay? And I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression, but I've learned a lesson that stressing and obsessing about somebody else is no fun. And snakes and stones never broke my bones, so you need to calm down. You're being too loud, and I'm just like, you need to just stop. But can you just not step on my gown? You need to calm down. You are somebody that we don't know, but you're coming at my friends like a missile. Why are you mad when you could be glad? You could be sunshine on the street at the parade, but you would rather be in the dark age, just making that sign. Must have taken all night. You just need to take several seats and then try to restore the peace and control your urges to scream about all the people you hate. 'Cause shade never made anybody less gay, so you need to calm down. You're being too loud, and I'm just like, you need to just stop. But can you just not step on his gown? You need to calm down. And we see you over there on the internet, comparing all the girls who are killing it. But we figured you out, we all know now. We all got crowns, you need to calm down. You need to calm down, you need to calm down. You're being too loud, and I'm just like, you need to just stop. Can you stop? Like, can you just not step on our gowns? You need to calm down.
everybody. Welcome back. We are well in hour number 2. Matt Connarton Unleashed on this Friday afternoon on WMNH 95.3 FM and Comcast 97 in Manchester. Streaming at WMNHradio.org and on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And Kyle Heavey from Off the Mark Sports is here as well.
You know, it's a nice transition right there. We've gone from very flamboyant music to Taylor Swift to your rockin' music here.
Yes,
so, I mean,
yes.
just in a matter of 3 minutes, we've hit a lot of different airwaves of music.
Well, I did. I played that new Taylor Swift song for a very specific reason because you may have picked up on the pro LGBTQ message in there, and it is Pride Month.
It is Pride Month. That's right.
But apparently Taylor Swift is in some trouble.
Oh no!
Over the song. And this is deeply distressing to me. I like the song. I think it's positive. I think it has a positive message and whatnot. But according to my favorite website, rightwingwatch.org,
oh lordy,
Kevin Swanson is warning that God is going to cut down Taylor Swift over that song.
Cut her down from what? Is she a tree?
Apparently,
she's got long legs. I realize, but I don't know what.
Apparently, she's in some trouble with the Lord.
Oh, the Lord.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Taylor, just...
I know.
You can't do that.
No, it says here, right-wing radio host and Colorado-based pastor Kevin Swanson responded to the release of a new Taylor Swift song and music video on his Generations radio show yesterday by declaring Swift is a fool and warning that God will cut her down. Swift's latest single, You Need to Calm Down, is intended to be a pro-LGBTQ anthem. It features several well-known pro-LGBTQ celebrities and urges people to sign a Change.org petition in support of the Equality Act. Swanson, who is a radical anti-LGBTQ preacher, is predictably unhappy about it. And we have the audio. We should probably give this a listen to hear in his own words because, like I said, I hate to see anything happen to Taylor Swift. I mean, she's trying to do something positive, but
everything's going to be seen as a pro and a con, and
right.
Unfortunately, we found the con here.
Yes, yes.
She's just trying to make the world a better place and support the LBG. Yeah, I can't say it for some reason.
Right. There's a lot of letters.
There's
LGBTQ,
a lot of letters. I know. I can
yes.
only pay attention so much on this fun Friday here on
yes.
Matt Connarton Unleashed. So.
Well, let's listen to what Kevin Swanson has to say.
Taylor Swift, most popular female singer in America today, released a song promoting the Leviticus 16 list of abominations, pretty much. And You Need to Calm Down is the name of the song. And she's apparently telling God to calm down about all of his ethical concerns.
Oh.
I don't think it's going to be effective, but that's...
Now, let me just interject here. I don't think the song is directed at God. I don't take it that way.
I don't. No, I've never found Taylor Swift to be a religious singer.
No,
not at all.
I think the song is directed at the haters and trolls who give LGBTQ people a hard time, telling them they need to calm down.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Kirby, who's listening on the radio and says this is the best conversation on the radio she's ever heard. So
wow,
you obviously hit some interest in some other listeners here today. So hello to Kirby in the car.
Well, hello to Kirby, and I will definitely let that go to my head.
There you go.
Of course, I mean, probably the only way it would be even better is if Easy G were here with us.
I don't know how... It'd be interesting to hear what Easy G's thought on this subject is.
Yes.
I don't know if he's a big Taylor Swift fan. He could be a Swiftie, or he'd go into her shows rocking the I don't know what, pink shirts or something like that.
Why do you say thought singular?
Going off the... Sometimes I don't know what's coming out of my mouth when I say it,
right.
That's why I can't be a politician just yet.
I might have to pull this up on the other computer because my browser's freezing.
Oh, no.
It figures we get a compliment on the segment and then my browser freezes. Let me pull this up over here, though.
Technology is a fun thing
I
there.
can find it again quickly enough. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, now this browser is running slow. I think our internet is... Okay, here we go. Kevin Swanson.
Yeah, USA Today had a story about this as well, how she's angered many with her new song. So interesting. And funny enough, I haven't seen the video just yet. Have you seen the video, Matt?
I haven't watched the video.
I have not either, so that's why I don't know if in this outfit it's very very rainbowish. So that's why it's interesting.
Yeah, you know, they don't. Some people don't like the rainbows. It freaks them out. It reminds them of people who are different than they are, and that's just too much for some people to process. I'm gonna have to reboot my computer, but I found it.
I'm amazed that her song "Shake It Off" isn't the official song for the motorcycle scared me. For the what's the shake weight? You know, the shake weight needs to get back in the limelight these days. Her song "Shake It Off" from a couple years ago. I feel like that's a perfect way to use the shake weight.
I suppose.
I mean, I know the song is about relationships and stuff like that, or whatever Taylor Swift's life is.
I thought she was talking to God. I thought she was telling God to shake it off.
Well, that's
like
maybe she is religious, and we're just not reading enough into her lyrics.
Like she's telling God, all that sinning that goes on down here, you got to just shake it off. Shake it off.
That's maybe she is a genius in some ways.
Maybe.
You're looking into this a little bit more now.
Maybe. All right, so I found that. I've got the, wow, listen to those sirens. Oh, I was going to play the rest of the clip, but we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, well, this is Easy G calling back.
Oh, Easy G.
Easy G. Listen, speak of the man.
I had to answer that question there. Taylor Swift, I'm definitely a big fan.
You are a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your thoughts on this whole, new song angering people?
Yes, and are you concerned about her? Because she may have angered God and will be cut down soon.
Yeah, I'm very concerned. But I have a feeling that the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So I think she'll be fine. Don't worry. Be happy.
There we go.
All right. Well, we'll try. But
Taylor Swift rules the music industry.
Wow.
She's one of the rare artists that actually still sells CDs and actually albums. I saw her album on my Facebook page, and she's doing fine. So
Jesus, buddy.
So I'm a big fan. No doubt about that. So
now,
your question, I am.
Were you a big fan? I mean, the same sort of subject happened a couple years ago with Lady Gaga as well. Were you a fan of Lady Gaga as well too, Easy G, or are you just Taylor Swift all the way?
Taylor Swift all the way.
Taylor Swift all the way.
So I gotta have my dinner now. So.
All right, Easy G. Thank you for the call. Bye-bye.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So
I think he actually, technically, I think that counts as more than one thought.
That's true.
You underestimated him.
I know. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, that was at least two thoughts there.
To the listeners out there, I'm just trying to, use my journalism skills to get as much information from Easy G as possible on these times when I'm on the show. So
yes,
thank you, Easy G, for making this day even better.
Yes, Easy G makes every day better. All right, so I've got the clip on the other computer. We'll hear a little bit more of this.
The most popular female singer in America today released a song promoting the Leviticus 16 list of abominations, pretty much. And you need to calm down's the name of the song, and she's apparently telling God to calm down about all of his ethical concerns. I don't think it's going to be effective, but that's what she's doing. The video is pushing a petition to support the Equality Act, which is now before the U.S. Senate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And it's intended to persecute Christians who don't want to celebrate homosexual, heathen rites and rituals. The message is basically this: we're beautiful and we're right. And those of you who oppose this particular abomination of the day, you're poor and dumb. When man puts himself in a position of power and finds he's making $48 million a year on his albums, and he's got a little elitism about him, he thinks he can shake his fist against God and against his anointed all day long, and he can't get at you. But in the words of Johnny Cash, you can run on for a long time. You can run on for a long time, but one of these days, God will cut you down.
Yep.
One of these days.
That is a great song. We have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Well, hello. Is this the famous show that gets all the great reviews?
Yes, it is.
I was reading those today. Pretty impressive. A little succinct, but okay. Not bad.
Sure. So this is my. Can I identify who you are?
No way, because I'm an undocumented social worker. No, I shouldn't kid about that. Yes, you may. You may, of course.
So this is my dad on the phone.
Well, hello, Mr. Connarton.
This is Kyle Heavey here. He's at the
Hello,
news
sir.
desk.
Hi, Kyle, at the news desk. God, there's a lot going on, guys, isn't there?
There's a
Holy
lot going
moly.
on. Happy Friday. First day of summer.
You never get bored. I mean, I tend to be as Matt, you know, a bit of a news junkie. You know what I have had to do? A couple of things I would mention, just for I was going to say viewers, listeners. One is I've had to cut back to some degree, not appreciably, but to some degree on my watching and talking about the news. It's so bad. It really is, you know. It's discouraging, you know, to grow up in this country and see what's going on right now. And it's so unnerving and scandalous. And, you know, there's so much to talk about in that regard, from the tyranny of technology. I mean, technology, we need its good parts, but the way that it's being controlled by certain companies. And that kid who was just fired from, is it Pentgrass? Do you know that story? Where he posted his logical and perfectly fine rationality for life, affirming life over abortion on demand, and they said no, not with our company. You can't do that.
No, I didn't see that.
I'm looking it up right now just to see what this story is about, but it's interesting here.
Yeah, look that up, because this is, I mean, it's outrageous. This isn't the first time it's happened. Facebook is starting to do this at Matt Zuckerberg. I won't say it, but I don't trust him at all. When that other kid said he wanted to see Facebook broken up, you know, I have some reluctance about the federal government getting involved with.
Yeah, me too. I don't.
You know what?
Yeah,
that
I don't
might
agree.
that might be valuable to at least look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my homework this
That's why
week
we
was to discuss the algorithms that are in Google and Facebook and how they try to pick what you want to see.
That, when I first became aware of those, maybe 3 years ago, you know, I'm slow to come to this technology thing, but I was kind of impressed, Matt, because I thought, wow, that's good use of information. I know that, you know, okay, you're going to sell that to advertisers and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not crazy about that, but it's capitalism, and you know, it's going to happen. But I thought, you know, especially when I start with the music, you know, when I would play an indie band, they would pick right up on that.
Right.
And it was sophisticated. It's all get out.
Oh yeah.
They would hit me up with these other indie bands that you know, no disc jockey could come up with. You know what I mean? Maybe you guys could, but and it would give me all these resources. I thought, gee, that's impressive.
Yes.
I mean, you can only take that so far, but I use music with the teenagers I work with. So, you know, and I work with a woman colleague, so we're doing that kind of mom and pop approach, and it's very helpful within moderation, and I have to be careful, make sure the lyrics are okay.
Right.
I use and I would put a plug in on the radio for you guys for WUNH 91.3 in Durham, New Hampshire.
Yes.
I mean, they're inconsistent because they're a lot of them because they're college kids and they're doing other things. Or
no, that's a very professional sounding station, though.
Sometimes,
yeah.
But they really bring it. I'm telling you, such great music.
No, they do a good
job.
job.
So I'll use that.
Yeah.
In groups that I do with teenagers, it's really effective on the whole.
No, I always tell people about you too, about how you, you know, because most people kind of get stuck as far as music. They get stuck in that era that they grew up in, but you always, like for as long as I can remember, you've always been interested in hearing new stuff. It's weird because Uncle Matt's like that too, you know, and I'm like that. It almost makes me wonder if there's something genetic about it. I mean, I say that sort of half kidding, but it really is unusual. Most people, they get stuck in an era and they don't want to hear anything new, which I think is bizarre because there's so much out there.
It is bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. I don't get it. You know, they lock into these mind systems. And I think you're right, Matt. I think there's some genetic neurological component there. You know, and for me, when I look at this, and there's no scientific basis what I'm about to say, and I have no research to back it up. It's subjective, but it's interesting. Very early on, when I was a kid, even before I took drum lessons, which I started at 7, in the 2nd grade, I was into this like percussion thing.
Yeah.
And now and music very early. I can remember as a little kid, before I went to school, I didn't even know what school was. That's another issue with my parents, but they take me to first grade on the first day of school, and I can still see it. I'm sitting between them at this desk. I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm 6 years old.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're talking about. And, I'm probably off in some fantasy land as a 6-year-old would be. So we get up to leave, and I think, well, I don't know what that was about, but I'm going home now with my parents. And, of course, the very pretty principal, even at 6, you pick up with these things. The very attractive principal says, "Oh, no, Martin, come with me," and I started first grade.
Yeah.
But my point is, before I got to first grade, Matt, get this. And when I look back on it, and your grandparents could corroborate if they were here with us directly, I was listening to Tony Bennett, Perry Como, certain instrumental. And I'm not a big instrumental guy, but I forget the name of the guy who did this. I was interested in some early instrumental work in the 50s, Tumbling Tumbleweed. They were doing stuff with brass that I liked.
Yeah.
Because now I like that kind of, when they do brass, like a lot of the Latin music is full of that, you know.
Yeah.
And groups like Los Lobos and others. But I was very early into percussion, I remember, and then through fortuity, really, I started to take drum lessons in the 2nd grade. I was 7. And I was in the band and stuff. And geez, it was just opened up my life.
Yeah.
So I think that has something to do with it because as I grew older, and of course it was in the era of some great music that was breaking through, even in country western, people like Ray Price, Patsy Cline, the Louvin brothers, it was like I could see it. Because a lot of the country in those days was not good, and it was like so intrinsically depressing, a lot of it, and whiny. But I realized Eddie Arnold, those guys, this is really good. And of course the Beatles came along. I loved Elvis, Roy Orbison, those types. Even Patti Page. But then the Beatles came along, and I'm telling you, I always remember that story. These girls that we kind of would flirt with each other, but I wasn't going with them. But we stuck together as kids. We did a lot of stuff together that was safe and stuff. So and we were into music. We were into folk music at the time. Bobby Dylan was young.
Yeah.
Joan Baez was beautiful. Oh my God, we're all in love with her. That's not a story. But she was talented. She still is talented.
Yeah.
So we go to Boston. My parents, I can't believe it's something. My parents would let us go to Boston, but we were all together. We took care of each other.
Yeah.
And we would see these groups. They were mostly folk groups. But and I saw Bob Dylan with the band at 65 when he did that thing where he came. I'll stop on this note. I have a couple of things I just want to mention quickly, but he came out. It was at the old Back Bay Theater in Boston, which has been torn down now. But you should have seen this. I probably told you this before. It's worth the listeners hearing this. So here's Bob Dylan. He's like 25 years old. He always looks older. I don't know why. But anyway, so he comes out
kind of haggard. Yeah.
for the first hour of the show, and he's a short guy. He's on stage all by himself, doing the great folk songs, most of which he wrote himself, with the harmonica and the guitar, the acoustic style. So then they can, and everybody's cheering, and all these girls are there. So then he goes backstage, and there's a little interim. It wasn't that long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then dramatically, you can hear something in the background that's different. And they open the curtain, and there's Bob Dylan in these wicked high, like cowboy boots, and a red jacket, and he's got his electric guitar, and there's the band there.
Yeah.
We didn't know at the time how famous and good they would become. But Robbie Robertson is there, all those guys, and the harmonies. So here's what happened. I probably told you this story before, but it's good for the listeners, and I'll shut up on this note. But so, I don't know, 2/3 of us are cheering. We love it. This is great. We love the old Bob Dylan, but we love this new electronic stuff. because it's good. It's so good. But there's probably like a third. I don't know about that, but maybe a fifth of the group. A lot of girls too, who boo and start to throw stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's unbelievable. And they start, some of them try to jump on the stage with him.
Yeah.
The police are right there. And the Boston police, man, they don't fool around. You know?
Right.
They grab them, and this is 65. It's a different world too.
Yeah.
They grab them and get them right out of there.
Yeah.
And Bob would just go on. And subsequently, tours in England and Europe where part of the group would accept him and get really excited and really appreciative and really sophisticated about it. But there'd be these guys that are always saying, "Oh, Bobby," they call him Bobby, "you're selling out." They'd boo him and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
No, that's that's that incident. I mean, or maybe not that incident specifically, but other. I've seen in documentaries where people talk about that. All the people who didn't want to accept Dylan making that change and who were kind of shocked by it and found it very jarring.
Yeah, I think they were shocked. I was a little shocked by it, but going back to what we're talking about, I got it, Matt.
Yeah,
through the grace of God. I said, my God, that's good.
Yeah,
he could play that. I didn't know who the band was at that. I didn't know Robbie Robertson. And who's the other famous? I mean, I can't think of the guy I liked even better than him, who was really good with the harmonies. He died in his sleep later on. It was,
a lot of them did.
He was only in his early 50s.
27 years old.
Heart attack. But and then they had another problem I won't even mention with one of the guys. It was so sad.
Yeah.
But man, did they go on to do good work on their own,
Yeah.
It was amazing. So we were right there. That was history-making night.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I think it's sad. I remember. And I'll stop on this note. I promise. I remember being with some friends or colleagues. Usually the colleagues I'd be with were older than I. Maybe but 5-10 years. But they would say, "Oh, Marty, you got to listen to this oldie station.
Right.
They're playing all these 1957, 1958 songs over and over and over again."
Yeah.
And I'd say, you know what? That would drive me nuts.
Yeah. Well,
for one good Elvis Presley or Ricky Nelson song or Patsy Cline, you got to listen to 10 that suck. I shouldn't say it on the radio. 10 that are terrible.
Right. Well, and it's stuff you've already
heard. You
got
to move on.
Yeah.
And then I try to talk to them about the new indie movement, these new indie bands, or before that even, some of the punk rock groups that were so good. And they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't talk to me about it.
Well,
turn away.
I've told a lot of people too about how growing up, like you and I never had that weird thing where we liked totally different music, that generational thing, because you were always interested in new stuff. And
absolutely.
And I always tell the story too about how Kiss is my favorite band and has been for decades now. And it's actually because of, just so happened, I always tell the story of how I was after school one day. It would have been 1985. I was on the living room floor watching MTV, and Kiss's video for Tears Are Falling was on. And you came home from work. Yeah, you came home from work, and you kind of poked your head into the living room, and you were like, "Maddie, who is that? Is that Kiss?" And I said, "Yeah." And you were like, "Oh, yeah, I've been hearing that song. I really like it." And I said, "Oh, yeah, it's like my favorite song right now." And then so that year for Christmas, you got me the cassette tape of the album that song was on, and that was it. I was, I've been hooked on Kiss for the rest of my life. But it all goes back to that moment, you getting me that, that album.
Sure.
Yeah.
34 years now.
Yeah.
34 years of Kiss.
I know.
Yeah.
The time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
And I really think that this is completely subjective, and it's not like a metaphysical issue or anything like that. But the '80s particularly was a good decade, I should say, for new music. So many new talented artists emerged in the '80s. I mean, I remember bands like
Unique
the Tom Tom Club and REM, those types. And what's that other band I really loved? There was a Tom Tom Club. And there was another one I'm blanking on right now. But there's so many.
Yeah.
You know, and Blondie was out doing her things, and Roxy Music in England. Oh
yeah.
God.
I remember you really liked that.
And I'll tell you, it took me a while to catch on because I'm raising a family and work and stuff too, a crazy lifestyle of work. But when I began to realize how good like REM was and the B-52s, oh my God, it's so good, man. You know? What were those guys? Iggy Pop and
Iggy Pop,
not the Criminals, but what was the name of that group? Iggy Pop. And
I'm blank on that too. I
Jane's
can't remember
Addiction?
either.
No.
What?
Sex Pistols?
Jenny's saying the Sex Pistols, but no.
No, they were like I like the Sex Pistols to a certain extent. But, But Iggy Pop, I mean, he was like I saw him recently. It was last summer, I think, on Austin City Limits.
Yeah.
And he still does that stuff where he still can sing reasonably well. He's a little raspy. He's older.
Yeah.
But he still does that stuff on stage where he takes his shirt off.
Oh, yeah. And he's still in incredible shape, too.
He's got me beat for sure. And I'm half his age for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all muscle, like no body fat.
Yeah, he's good. And he goes into that. He's got that tradition from the late 70s into the 80s and in the 90s of going into the crowd too. The crowd loves that.
Oh yeah.
It's classy. He's classy with it, and he's got that kind of strange look.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks like his trousers are going to fall off.
Right.
So fun. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's a showbiz guy. He always was. And very successful.
Mm-hmm.
He did a song in the late 80s. I think it's called simply Budapest. It's either called Budapest or Cafe Budapest, but I can never find it on his discography. So I don't know if it was just a special thing he did.
Yeah, I don't know that song. Yeah.
He did it with one. I don't know, it was Denver, one of the major orchestras of the United States, and it's a haunting song. It's a ballad. He slows it down, and then he builds it back up. And he has that low voice.
Yeah.
But he can raise it up too. It's so good. I know if you ever find it, let me know.
Yeah.
It's either Budapest or Cafe Budapest, but I can't find it. I don't know. It's probably out of print or something. But he's a talented guy. Another guy from Michigan.
Well, Dad, we're gonna.
Well, I won't hold you guys up any further because other listeners probably want to call in.
Yeah. Well,
but I was happy just to affirm it's something I've been working on for a protracted period of time.
Is this what your
with
childhood was like?
Ending the death penalty in New Hampshire.
Yes, yes.
Bizarre, so disgraceful.
Yeah.
And I know, other people will argue their point of view, but you know who was? I didn't realize this until recently. I was doing some research. You know who was against the death penalty all through the 80s? So it would have been with me. I've always, since high school, since junior high, been against the death penalty.
Me too, yeah.
And I stand by my arguments.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I found out that St. John Paul II, the Great, always was against that, saying in his encyclical letters, if there was a need for it in the past, there's no need for that now.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was good for him. He was a great thinker anyway, a great writer. People don't realize what a marvelous intellect John Paul II had.
Yeah. No, it's
Courageous
wonderful.
guy.
It's wonderful to see the death penalty go away in New Hampshire, and I think that trend is going to continue. And by the way, before, because we're actually gonna run out of time soon, but I did earlier in the show. I did give just so you know, I did give Trump credit for making what I believe was the right call, and not triggering World War III, but telling them to stand down on that strike against the Iranians. Right. I thought that was the right decision, and I'm glad that he's not being led around by Pompeo and particularly John Bolton and his very frightening mustache and getting us into a pretty terrible situation. So I'm glad that, because I worry about that with Trump.
Yeah, I know. It is a worry. It would be a worry with any president, but I agree with you. I think that was the best decision. Even if they're up in the air, stand them down.
Yeah,
stand them down. keep the pressure on, but negotiate. Negotiate.
Right.
And there was some discrepancy, some intrinsic discrepancy. Not that it was that they fought where the drone actually was at the time.
Right. Right.
If you have a drone that goes into enemy territory like that, and the Iranians, the people are good people, but the government is crazy.
Right.
But you run that risk, that they're going to shoot it down. I mean, thank God it wasn't a plane.
Yeah.
But
No
I
kidding,
agree with
yeah.
you, Trump. I don't think he takes any bull anymore. I think for a while with that phony, corrupt investigation. Don't get me started on that.
Well,
Mr. Corruption himself, Mr. Mueller. They kept trying to get him off track and shake him up, and he withstood a lot of bull, and he did it well on the whole. So not to get into all of that right now, because I think Barr is going to find out some good things. He's a good man. He's bright. He's sensitive, and he doesn't take any baloney. So that's another story. But my point is that I agree with you, Matt. Trump doesn't want to overreact. He doesn't want to get us into these stupid wars that go on forever.
Yeah.
Like Afghanistan and Iraq. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So he's setting a precedent. He's hitting the right balance, I think, right now. And I was glad to hear that. Of course, the lamestream leftist media, I gotta watch I don't swear on the radio. They'll blame him either way, but that's okay. That's okay.
I saw.
That's what I would say to him if I was advising him. Don't worry, Mr. President, about what they say. Let them talk. Let them bull the American people.
Yeah.
Their ratings are way down. Most people don't trust them.
I saw.
And just keep doing the right thing.
I saw some people on MSNBC giving him credit. Or at the very least expressing their relief that he made the right decision there.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah,
but,
that's good. But I mean, they have so many knuckleheads there. You know how I feel about Chris Matthews. Oh my God.
Oh, Chris, my
I
hero.
made the right call. He fooled me for a while, Matt.
My hero, Chris Matthews. I send him I send him a Christmas card every year.
You send him a Christmas card?
No, I don't. I'm
Well,
kidding.
Aren't you nice? I'd send him a card, but it wouldn't be a Christmas card.
Right. All right, Dad.
It would say some aggressive things I shouldn't say as a Christian man.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen. I'll let you guys go. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
Thank you for the good work you're doing.
Thank you.
Happy belated Father's Day as well.
Watch out for that the big tech companies. I know they're not going to go away, and they have their good points. But I don't like the way they're trying to control. There's a guy. Let me mention a writer. Two guys. There's a writer named David Icke. Have you guys ever heard of him?
David Icke.
He's a British guy.
He's
a sociologist and historian I admire. I don't agree with him on everything.
Wait. Are we talking about the same David Icke? Are you talking about David Icke who believes in shape-shifting lizards and everything?
I don't know about that. I mean, there are a number of people around him who I know get into UFOs and get kind of crazy. Not that I'm agnostic on that. There could be something there, but he's into looking at different structures that influence political democracies, and he's sometimes he goes a little overboard, but he says watch out, for example, for the big money guy from Hungary. He's a Democrat. He's not even a Democrat. He's a leftist, but he doesn't really care. I forget his name right now. I can see him, but he's pointing out that there are these families all around the world, and I don't agree with him completely on this, but are trying to control everything to the degree that it doesn't matter what president we have. And this is an old story.
Yeah.
Somewhat conspiratorial, but because you can look at the political guys in Washington, the swamp, as Trump would say, and those guys control an awful lot, and they're making a lot of money. It's like AOC going on the video talking about concentration camps, in Texas. Unbelievable.
Well, Dad,
she should shut up.
All right, Dad. Well,
but see, I heard she's got a swimming pool in her apartment there. And,
oh my goodness!
She's making big money now. 28-year-old is making over $100,000 a year. It's probably $170,000 or something they make.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Well,
they
Dad,
live in a different world.
Dad, we are completely out of time, so we got to go. All right, but
I'll let you go. Thanks for all the good work you guys are doing.
All right,
Peace
Dad.
out for now. Be well.
All right, Dad. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
It could be the.
That was not that did not end the way I expected. David Icke.
You know, he's putting you up against the Dion father-son combo here with their show on Thursdays, with your dad being calling in there today. So, you know, props to your dad being able to keep the show rolling today. So
yeah,
it's been a pleasure to be a guest on your show today.
Kyle, you're welcome anytime. As
I
you know,
appreciate that, and have a great weekend, everyone. We'll be on Sunday.
Yes,
from
off the mark
10 to noon,
sports.
Off the Mark Sports. If anyone wants to take a listen, we'll have a lot going on. So,
all right, thank you, Kyle. And if you missed any part of today's, I'm still a little stunned. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And I will talk at you all on Monday. Bye, everybody.